Hi, as another Christmas ornament, I'm going to be carving this little Christmas tree in mahogany. This is 3/8 of an inch thick, and I'm going to just position this so the grain is going horizontally so I can go right and left carving rather than forward and back. The majority, there may be some exceptions where I have to maybe turn it or, think a little safer, but I generally like to keep the actual grain direction going pretty much right across the grain, horizontally to the edge of the bench or parallel to the edge of the bench. What I'm going to do first of all, again, this is only 3/8 of an inch thick, so I'm going to go ahead and, now first of all, I want to separate off the little star, and I could probably just very safely, hopefully, just take a flat chisel and define the edge of that. Quite often I like to take a V chisel and do this edging, but it's such a tiny little amount that it's going to be very hard to get a V chisel in there without actually doing more damage. So I've got a flat chisel here. This is a 14mm. It's kind of my go-to flat chisel whenever I need it. So just make that look like it's raised up a little bit, a little higher. Just stands out differently. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to try to use a flat chisel for most of this. And so what I'm going to do, you just need to be careful not to break those all the way off. But I do want to take these outer sort of curls of the branches. I want to take those quite low to the background so that they look like they're sort of the side of the tree, but it's very easy to break those off. So especially if you go off this edge, go off the edge like that, they can break. So what I'm trying to do is angle them down, and as I'm doing this, the actual pressure of my tool is going into the wood. All right, rather than necessarily going like that. A lot of pressure can be caused to lift that up if I just go straight across. So sort of like this, but it's down. Okay, and then I can come across like that. So then if I come like that and we can just do it a little edge right there. So this is going to be not a very realistic tree. It's going to be kind of stylized, as most Christmas tree decorations are. All right, but I am going to take this all the way to the background and kind of get a nice sweeping motion. So one thing about the Christmas tree that's, in order to make it look like it's a little bit more of a shape to it, that these sort of almost flip up. Not actually flipping back on itself, but kind of twist at the very end. Gives it a little bit more interesting shape to it. But what I'm trying to do in this process is not see any of that vertical cut. Now you'll probably be able to view the other side a little bit better because I'm not going to turn it around. I'm going to try to do it from this side. It's not a very, well, I guess I could probably do it from that direction. I was going to say it's not a very comfortable, easy position to be in, but I think it's going to be all right. All right, so just keep defining that little edge. Not so much that the actual star breaks away. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this now. Again, right here, I'm just gonna sort of do a slicing motion just to make sure that the end, the tip of that is down to the background. But see, if I just go right like that, I could end up breaking that whole thing off because the grain is going like that. So again, just start a little ways and then just kind of nibble it away. And slicing the tool really is a little bit more gentle on that. And trying to take too much at a time also does not do well for keeping those little ends. Okay, let's start at the top then. Come in that direction. Now notice I've got the bevel side down, and so pretty much so far I have used a flat chisel only. Okay, and that's going to end up being a really nice project when you don't have to actually have a lot of tools. Now I probably will use some more later on, but you could end up getting away with doing most of this with just a simple flat chisel. You could, if you don't have flat carving chisels, you could even do this with a bench chisel. But I'm just, the trick with using a flat chisel and making curves is really taking and making sweeping cuts. Okay, so just be careful when you're making those cuts. There's a little bit of a sort of a back pressure if your wood is not real solidly clamped, and it could slip, and I just don't like to see anything accidentally slipping out of the vise or out of your clamps. So if you have to do anything that is like that, that's very clearly pointing towards yourself, or certainly I wouldn't recommend it, first of all, but make sure that you actually have stepped away from the bench, sort of, so that anything that slips would go past you, won't go towards you. Okay, so let me just go a little bit over what I've done here. I cut this out on a scroll saw. You can cut this out on a band saw or scroll saw, or anything. You can really do it by hand too. A coping saw. And then I've stuck this down with double-sided tape. And when I'm finished with it, take a solvent and just go right underneath along the edge, and it will release the tape. Now with something small like this, you could also just, when you're finished with it, take a just a flat chisel, go along some sturdy areas along the edge, and just take it under there and just do a very slight sort of tipping of the tool, and that will release it, or it should. If it doesn't, then you can try using a solvent and just brushing it along the edge, and that solvent will soak into the background and or soak into the tape and release it. Okay, now there's a little area down there. Just gonna the actual trunk. So I'm gonna try to use this flat chisel the whole way, just to see how far I can get away with it. Okay, and just take the corners off so it becomes round. So the more corners you take off, the more round it is. Okay, So at this point, now the star, this is where I just want to go right in the inside. Now you can do this or not. You can leave it as is. It's not that big of a deal, but just gonna, but what I'm doing, I'm just taking this in there and I'm rocking it at a slight angle so it's deeper along the edge and shallower in the center. And this is where I can come in and do some angle cuts and just to shape it a little bit, give it more of that Christmas star look. So lost the point on that. Now just keep an eye on the direction that I'm taking this, on the direction that I'm cutting, because it is important that you make sure that you don't cut against the grain. These are also, and anytime if you can, go sort of downhill like that, and then downhill like that. Okay, so you could end up, always do this, you could stop there, but no, but wait, there's more. Okay, you could, and but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my V-chisel and I'm going to do a few little marks in there just to detail it and give it a little bit more, a little bit more dimension in the center. And if you really wanted to get carried away, you could make little Christmas ornaments and just little balls every once in a while, and but then you'd have to lower the tree down, and anyway, you could get kind of carried away with this. Now, what I would probably end up doing is, this is the type of thing that you would paint because it's Christmas. You don't have to, but paint little colored balls all over it to signify maybe lights or something like that, and maybe some garland, and get some gold paint and paint little stripes sort of rotating around it. Oh, you could do so much. I feel so much like Martha Stewart. Okay, so I'm going to continue that. Let's just take that one up there, and so a few little sections, just sort of additional shaped. We can maybe extend that in a little bit further. That's a good idea. Let's take those that are out there, let's extend those in further. They're just looking way too symmetrical. I'm sorry, I got to break it up a little bit. Oops, that one kind of got a little carried away. All right, now I think I just need to stop. Okay. Anyway, so again, you can really do some more three-dimensional look. And of course, oh, I can't stop. I've got to take those bottom ones there. Yeah, hold on. I grabbed another tool, but I'm going to continue to do this with a flat one. So, flat chisel and V-chisel. 2 tools for this whole project. Okay, so you can kind of see there, I may take those a little bit deeper, who knows, but anyway, I'm really pleased with the little star at the top. That was kind of complicated early in the direction, but basically flat chisel to define these inside edges, and then just take those and leave sort of these areas high. Now you could take that and make that an entire project, doing just that star, making it larger, of course, and certainly you can do that. So, well, there it is, a cute little Christmas tree. A Merry Christmas.